of it.
None of that.
None of anything.
That was super annoying. Which explains why we had like 2 viewers and now we have 1 viewer, because they're just like, it's quiet, nobody's talking.
Oh no.
Microphone.
No, we're talking about audio.
We were having lots of problems with microphones.
Like, that is super annoying. And also, this is probably going to sound really weird.
Wait,
because,
did you just plug it?
Well, okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Book Buffet. That you can hear now. That's really frustrating.
I didn't know because I'm
Well,
on mute, so we don't have the feedback.
Well, of course not. Why would you? I just noticed that the waveforms weren't going.
Yeah.
So who knows how long that's been the case. We were having problems with our microphone, if you can't tell. Now we are going off of the sound on the microphone on the laptop, which I'm going to quickly pop onto our stream and check.
I can just unmute myself.
Well, then it would cycle through and
true.
become really problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it doesn't sound horrible. Not my preference, but whatever. Hi, everyone. Hi, Itchy! You just showed up after we found out that our microphone was not working for the past 5 minutes. Glad to see you're here. Hope you're having a day. This is a great way to start off the new year. Anyway, we're talking about audiobooks, which is really important when you have a working microphone. Golly! Anyway, that's the way to go.
That's okay. It's okay.
Well, we have decided that this microphone is not
going to help us.
Nope,
today.
we're returning that one right away. That, and then that, and that, and we did it again. Oh my goodness, it's already a day. Hi again.
You may have not heard this because of our other technical problem, but we were talking about how this is like Y2K plus 25.
Yeah.
I think it's coming true.
I think
it's coming true.
Every piece of technology that we have encountered today has not worked.
Not been working.
Everything has needed to be restarted. Wild. Wild.
So anyway,
we're talking about audiobooks. We all listened at different speeds. I'm catching you up on the bullet points of what we were talking about. Different apps will do different listening speeds so that you can listen to things that sound like chipmunks if you want to, or sound like whales if you want to. We generally sit around the 1.2 mark, but some books will read fast enough, but also directors for the audiobooks generally tell their narrators to slow down. So if you're like, but audiobooks take too long, then you can just go and scoot along there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So let's jump into our first one, I think.
Back
yeah.
at it.
Let's just jump into the first one.
My first one is A Deadly Education. We have the physical copy. It is checked out right now. It is a trilogy by Naomi Novik.
Okay, now you can slow down to normal. That's where we were.
This is where we were. The narrator is Anisha Dadia. So she does all 3. So the main character of this book is half Welsh, half Indian, and I believe the narrator herself is Indian, maybe grew up in England. So she's got the background, she's got the voice, the accent, which is very fun. I like to listen to books by British, Irish, Scottish authors. Because then you usually get the narrator of similar, and it's fun to listen to.
Those are great accents too.
Yes.
Yeah.
As an American listener, they are fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. So, A Deadly Education, the start of this trilogy, is our main character, Elle, short for Galadriel. Yes, she is mad at her mother for naming her that. Is the chosen one. She goes to a magic school, and she is the chosen one. She does not want to be the chosen one. She wants to just survive, because the school she goes to tries to kill you. And the whole point of it is that you spend your 4 years learning, preparing, practicing for graduation. Graduation is you are sent to the dungeon, the gates open, you have to get out. That's how you graduate. You just get to leave the school. most people die.
I was gonna say,
I was gonna
assuming
say,
you make
Hunger
it.
Games-esque right
Yeah.
there.
You're not being killed by your classmates. You're being killed by all of the monsters, and the school itself will try to kill you on the way out.
Oh, fun.
That's why it's called a deadly education.
Uh-huh.
And she, as the chosen one, is like, dear Lord, why me? I would like to just go live a normal life, please.
Right.
So yeah, it's funny because she is very like sarcastic and dry. And yeah, it's a good like grown up fantasy if you're still like, I would like to revisit a fantasy school.
So like it's like Hogwarts, but with like high stakes.
If Hogwarts was
like a high stakes Hogwarts.
High
not
stakes.
the safest place on earth.
Yeah.
Which
It's not.
easily argued Hogwarts is not the safest place on earth.
But they like to proclaim that it is.
Yeah, they're not hiding anything.
School is like, we are not the safest place on earth. We are perhaps the safest place for your children for the next 4 years.
But then after that,
until graduation.
right?
When we try to murder them.
There are no teachers. There are no
There's
adults.
no teachers.
It's just the school. Like you go into a classroom and the classroom will like give you the thing that it thinks you need to learn that day.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
It's like magic AI.
Sort of, yes. Because it also relies on your thoughts and beliefs and like, oh, I'm walking down this hallway. Wait, I don't recognize this. Where am I going? Oh no, now I'm lost. So you have to like stop yourself from like spiraling that way. You have to be like, I know that the cafeteria is just around the corner. Aha, there it is.
Fun.
So it is fun. Yeah. Love fun.
So where can people read this?
They can
or
read it.
Listen to it.
Libby.
Libby's a good
That's where
one.
we've got it.
Libby's gonna be a common thing. All right, so my turn. On the other side of this is Legends and Lattes. This is by Travis Beldry. And the audiobook is, I think, also narrated by him as well. So it's a little bit, I kind of enjoy authors narrating their own books because you get like the voices that they have in their heads. And they may not have matched up to what you would have naturally gone towards. So it's kind of like you get sort of like a behind the scenes kind of a take on that sort of a thing. It is a little bit different because it's a more masculine voice and majority of the characters are female and so like you'd expect a little bit lighter of a tone, but honestly he does a really good job, so like no complaints. So Legends and Lattes, Viv is a orc who was it's like D&D coffee shop. So it was Viv is an orc who was in an adventuring party, and at the very beginning she's just like, I'm done with this. Like everyone in my race and this job class always just dies horrifically and bloody, and frankly I don't want to. So on her last big haul, she then decides to open up a coffee shop, except that nobody knows what coffee is. And she just keeps on going around. She's just like, hey, have you ever heard of coffee? And they're like, what?
And you take beans and you pour hot water over them, and it was like bean water.
Bean water? Why? What?
What is bean water?
What is that? And then she's like, here, have some with milk, and people lost their mind. So she meets Tandri, I think is her name. I should say, I like literally just read to this like less than a month ago. You think I know their names? I don't. Anyway, so she becomes a partner, and she like the two of them just really work together and make this thing work out. It is so sweet. This is a cozy read through and through. If you want something that's like not very dramatic, like kind of sweet and gentle, there's some like stuff does happen, but it's not like a suspenseful read at all. Like it's just and sometimes we just need just nice. So it's super really cute. There's a sequel which is like, oh shoot, what is that one called? I don't know.
Something and something.
It's something and something relatively
it's
similar.
Not bed knobs and broomsticks, but like that's
it's something.
vibe.
But I think it's also
it's alliterative and
it's 100% alliterative, and there's a drink involved to it.
Yeah.
Are you looking it up right now? Phenomenal. But it's a prequel. So it's when Viv was younger. Is that one? That one is called Bookshops and Bone Dust. So not a drink in any way, shape, or form, but books. So that one's also supposed to be really good. I think I'm personally not interested in reading it just because I'm like, I like where this story is where it is. And I'm content with that. But a lot of people have read the other one and hey, have really liked it. So you can get this on Libby, and Hoopla. So yeah, give that one a try. It's really fun. If you're like D&D and like those kinds of high fantasy worlds and stuff, it's a good one to go for. Yeah. Hey, you got one?
I do have one, and it was the one that you're most anticipated for.
All right, I'm excited because of Matt.
Because I got a hot take on this one, really, is what it is. But I have Spare by Prince Harry.
Slide pause. Itchy loved Legends and Lattes, and frankly, Itchy, this would be one that I would have demanded you to read.
Yeah.
So.
But yes, so I have Spare by Prince Harry. It was probably one of the biggest books of 2023. Like many people probably have read it. Listening to it, he narrates it. So even better.
How long is it?
It's 15 and a half hours.
Oh my gosh.
Is this one?
That means he was in the studio.
13 discs.
It's 13 discs.
13. Oh well, that was insane.
So,
okay.
But my hot take on this one is, his intentions, at least for me, were completely misdirected. Like he wanted to paint himself as this is why I'm the way I am.
Uh-huh.
And I get it. Like you lost your mother at a young age,
and that was
that's traumatizing. You don't have a normal life as a royal.
Yeah.
And you are kind of treated as the spare. Like your brother is more important than you.
Psychologically, the situation is messy.
Yes, very messy. For me, it still came across as so entitled.
It's hard to relate.
It's hard. It was hard to relate, but he was trying to be relatable to the normal person.
He's thinking he's putting out a mirror, and you're like, "This is a window, my friend."
Correct. Correct. So that's my hot take: is that he still came off as entitled. Okay. There are some scenes where you're clearly like, "Yeah, I totally can relate to that one, Prince Harry." But so that's where I'll leave it because I don't want to give too much away if you haven't.
I think
probably most people have.
I think at one point you were describing one where he was like going hunting and somebody loaded his gun for him.
And he was like, I was like, that doesn't happen. No. And I was like, we're from the Midwest, so hunting is more common. But okay, I could relate maybe at that point, but even though I've never been hunting, but I don't have my butler behind me to load my shotgun I can shoot the deer.
Yeah, and you're not wearing your wool tweed.
Exactly. I'm just okay. So that's the form of entitlement that we're kind of looking at with this one. But yeah, that's my point on that one. Clearly we have it as an audiobook. If you would like to listen on your CD player in your car,
we also
has one.
And we have it as a print book.
We have it as a print book. We also have it on Libby and Boundless as well. So two digital places that you can find this e-audiobook.
I like that Boundless in this case is a double working thing because it's digital and also an audiobook. So it's double not bound.
Yes. So there is my hot take for 2025 on a book that came out in 2023.
I don't know when any of my books came out, but they're not this past year. Well, I don't know when Legends and Lattes came out. I think that was 23.
That means that there's usually less of a wait.
Yeah,
correct.
The digital apps.
Correct.
And I've been waiting for this one book on Libby for 3 months.
Is it My Sultry Mary?
No, I personally own that one.
Okay.
We'll talk about the Marys and the Janies later. Anyway, your turn.
My turn. I'll do another memoir. I have Comedy, Drama by Bob Odenkirk. And yes, the audiobook is read by Bob Odenkirk. I don't know. It was just fun. I like a memoir read by the person. Especially when it's I know parts of his life. I know probably this comedy and this drama is but I didn't know about the first comedies. But yeah, he talks about how he started off in comedy. Writing.
I know about this comedy and this drama, but not these comedies.
Yeah, I didn't know about the early stuff.
It's a great way to frame it.
His Saturday Night Live time, I wasn't really aware of. Yeah, all of his sketch stuff I didn't know about. I really didn't know of him until what's it called, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. Which was comedy-ish, but mostly drama. And then of course Little Women.
Okay.
The Little Women. Oh, please watch it. It's really good.
Like the one with Florence Pugh. That little.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The
newest one.
Yeah. He's the dad.
Oh.
And he's very sweet.
Cool.
So yeah, I kind of knew of him as this funny, wisecracking guy from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and then the sweet dad in Little Women. I was like, who are you, really? Yeah. So it was fun to listen to. It was fun to hear him tell the story of how he got his big breaks. And he does a lot of yeah, I was a white guy and I was medium funny and not, I had some talent, but really it was just I did the work and they were like, yeah, sure, come along. Today it would be much different. For someone not a white guy, it would be much different. So he is very honest about no, I maybe didn't earn all of the big breaks that I got. But I'm grateful for them. So yeah, I thought that was good.
All right. I mean, I'll go with a humble. I like it.
Yeah.
So fun. My next book is Ready Player One. I liked how
I love how it. Yeah.
I know. I've been eyeing it for a while. We have it clearly as a proper audiobook. This one is also 13 discs. But you can also find it on Libby and Boundless. This is definitely feels very older now. There's a movie out about it. Varying opinions on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It does have some cool cinematic moments. That's for true. Anytime the Iron Giant shows up, that's always a good time. So this is the main character, Wade, is very participatory in a virtual reality space that everybody is engaged with, and there's sort of this big digital Easter egg hunt that is going on, that the prize is you win basically the ownership and godhood of everything in the digital space. And it's him going after him versus a major corporation trying to gain control over the space. And it's sort of grassroots versus mega corporations. And it's fun. There's a ton of gaming references and 80s references. And even if you weren't around for 80s stuff like us, it's still really fun. And I personally really like video games and the history of video games. So I learned a lot about stuff through this, because that was when video games was born properly. And that was just a grand time. There's so many references across the board, also into the 90s and early 2000s. And it's just a grand time. Now, what I enjoy is that this is narrated by Will Wheaton, who is sort of gamer celebrity tiered, higher on the lines of everything. He's in tons of stuff. He was in Star Trek, everything. Pink and Sundry, tons of things. So he narrates it. And there's a part of the book which his sort of dry, sarcastic tone works perfectly for this character. And there's a part of the book where they kind of mentioned that it's such a teeny thing, but they mentioned that there's a player representative, that the players voted to be the representative for the digital space, sort of in the digital space government. And the player representative who was voted is Will Wheaton. So it's really funny hearing Will Wheaton say that he is Will Wheaton. It's a weird little meta thingy, and I just find it entertaining. So this was a really good one, and I enjoyed it. I personally liked it a lot better than I liked the movie. But you are allowed to like whatever you like. So yeah, there's a lot, like there was a good amount of like similarities between the movie and the book, but there's so much more in the book, and which is common. That's not overly surprising, and there's just a lot of fun things that go on. So give it a shot. I like it.
I'm just gonna add to that one and kind of also plug another library, but we all like each other, so it's okay. The Schaumburg Public Library currently has an exhibit called Arcade Age.
Oh.
We had it at my previous library, and then it kind of has floated around, and now it's at Schaumburg. And it's a bunch of like arcade games, and it talks about the history of arcade games and all that kind of stuff, and you can play the old arcade games. I just wanted to mention that so our viewers at home can also watch it, and I think you're probably going to go there probably later today as well.
Why did it take you so long to tell me about this?
Because I went there the other day because I was like, let me just go and see how it looks. I haven't been there in a while.
You have my phone number.
And then I literally was like, yeah, I have to mention it. Didn't know that it was there now. So now you can go look at that. So anyway, my next book.
I've just learned that our friendship is a lie.
So my next book, I feel like I'm pulling the dramatic books today.
I'm writing down my trauma story of Matt's betrayal.
It's called A Fever in the Heartland, which is the Ku Klux Klan's plot to take over America and the woman who stopped them.
Ooh.
So very enticing story.
Light subject.
Yeah, very light subject.
Light subject.
Very light subject here. But it is based in the 1920s.
Okay.
So, kind of, yeah, it's been around, and it's based in Indiana. So this all happened in Indiana.
Yep.
And I'm gonna just read this so I don't miss anything.
Where in Indiana?
All across the state.
Fascinating.
Yeah, is where it is. But yes. So this historical thriller delves into the rise of the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s and the extraordinary efforts of a woman who helped bring them down. While the Roaring Twenties are often remembered as for their glamour and excess, this period also marked the height of the Klan's power, particularly in the Heartland and the West. At the center of this dark chapter was D.C. Stevenson, which he was the head of this chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. Okay. So yes, he rose to become and they call themselves Grand Dragon. So he became the Grand Dragon of Indiana, and the key architect of the Klan's strategy in the Midwest. However, his reign of terror was ultimately undone by Madge, who is this woman who brings down Ku Klux Klan, whose bravery and deathbed testimony exposed his crimes and weakened the Klan's grip on America. This gripping account shines a light on the pivotal moment in history when one woman's courage brought justice to a powerful hate group. So, very, very interesting. I'm not going to delve into more because I love just leaving people with a bunch of interest.
Lady went out with a bang.
She did, yeah. So it was her murder, really, that kind of sparked all of this.
Ooh, and murdered?
Yeah.
So it's not just a regular death.
No.
I thought she was just like,
Yeah, she was.
They were like, we need to silence her, and she's like, but wait.
But wait, she kept receipts and notes and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, very good story. And you think like, oh, okay, about this time, you think 1920s, you think of like more of the Great Gatsby type stuff.
Sure.
But all this stuff was going on, and you don't think like, oh, it's so close to home where we live in Illinois.
I mean,
that it's like, okay, it's the state over. And even I went to a book discussion on this, and some of it is even still going on today.
Yeah.
So, like on Indiana University's campus and things like that, there's some things, but yeah. Okay. Good story. So, hot take number 2 for the year.
Matt's all about hot takes right now.
I have something a little softer.
Yeah. It's kind of.
I love this audiobook.
Yeah. We might put new features. Yeah, this is not a hot take.
Yes.
The audiobook's good, and a lot of people like it. This was one of our summer reads 2 summers ago.
I think it was last summer. Like, I'm literally looking to see if Leslie's within grabbing distance because she will just talk about it first.
That's why I did the audio instead of the print, because Leslie, our head of adult services, recommended it in the audio. And the way she recommended it was Michael Urie voices an octopus.
Yep.
And that I was like, okay, and sold. The other narrator is Marin Ireland. And so she does most of the narration, but then we get the perspective of a giant Pacific octopus. And it's like, so one of his chapters is day 1329 of my captivity. And you basically get to hear from the octopus about his captivity. Alongside of like this bigger story of the humans around the aquarium where he lives.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's got like a snideness to it, I think. So if you like your sarcastic-ish characters, the voice of the octopus is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that having not read it. I just know that we book talked it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's 100% on my to-read list. I should add that too.
It ends up being like very sweet, sad, sweet, but like positive, I would say overall. Yeah. But yeah, basically the octopus befriends a human, and then you learn more about this human's life and her like struggles with her marriage and her son, and I don't want to give too much away because like the reveal is pretty good, but
and it looks like it's a read with Jenna book too.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean a lot of people who've heard of this book have probably already read it, but I want to like specifically recommend the audio version.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I have talked about this before. It's My Lady Jane. But the audiobook's fantastic. I didn't look up who the narrators were. The other ones I just knew. But it is one narrator. However, the voices, so as the story goes on, the different chapters are from different perspectives. And the voices are so very distinctly different that I am convinced that there's multiple narrators, but I'm fairly confident that it's only one. But it's like just so very. Are you double checking for me?
Yeah, but it's giving me the TV show.
Oh, right, yeah. So there's the TV show of this now, which I still have not watched, and I frankly don't want to, because it looked like the tone was incredibly different. So just to overview this again very quickly, this is sort of like an alternative historical fantasy twist of Lady Jane Grey, who was a queen for about 9 days before they deposed her and killed her. So this is a story of like, but what if she didn't die? And what if people, instead of Catholics and Protestants, it's people who could shapeshift into animals and people who couldn't? And what if her cousin who was the king who died when he was young didn't die? And like all of this stuff. And it's a fun romp. She is forced to marry this guy who, in order to become the king. And that guy turns into a horse during the day. And when it's nighttime, he turns into a dude again, and he can't control it.
It's like reverse werewolf.
Yeah, she's like, you want me to marry a horse? She's so upset. It's super cute and it's funny. And it's got like a sweet little romance to it. It's like not graphic in any way, shape, or form. I've said it before in a previous stream, but they literally call it a very special hug. And that is it. Like, it's so funny and cute. The narration, it just makes everything. And frankly, the narrations through the entire series are pretty great. I was listening to My Calamity Jane, which is about Calamity Jane plus werewolves. And the narration on that was actual werewolf. The narration on that one's pretty great too. Like the accents are nice, and there's a good skew on like the regional accents, but also like the voices for the different characters across genders fits really well. Like
They're also pretty meta, as in like they will acknowledge the audience.
yes.
You know, dear listener, dear reader.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they
Um,
break the fourth wall
yeah.
in the audiobook.
Yeah, it's very similar to like reading The Princess Bride, which
Yeah.
is a phenomenal book. Everyone should do that. But yeah, it's
The narrator
Love that.
is Catherine Kellgren.
yeah, and she does a great job. So, because genuinely, I was like, no, there's multiple. No, it's just one, just one. Which good job, great job. Like they're in my head, there are distinctly different voices for all of these characters. So, love them. Read this book. Just read this book. It's so good. Anyway, Matt's turn.
I'm gonna stick on my dark trend
course
right
you
now. But don't worry, I have more lighthearted books coming up.
It's a lie. We have something for everyone.
But my next one is called Everybody in My Family Has Killed Someone. And the reason why I love this audiobook, to your point earlier, Rachel, it's narrated by an Australian. So you get the Australian accent. So,
It's fun.
but yeah, so this one is called, so I'll read the first like paragraph of it for you as like a little synopsis.
Excellent.
So it says, everyone in my family has killed someone. Some of us, the high achievers, have killed more than once. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it's the truth. Some of us are good, others are bad, and some just unfortunate. I'm Ernest Cunningham. Call me Ern or Ernie. I wish I'd kill whoever decided our family reunion should be at a ski resort, but it's a little more complicated than that. Have I killed someone? Yes, I have. This is Ernie, not me. And then, who was it? Let's get started. And then he goes through, it's like a whole diary. And he tells all the stories of all his family members, how they have killed someone, whether it was on purpose or an accident or whatever. And it's all under this like family reunion. Like they all came together, and then do some survive, do some not.
So
yeah,
are
that's
these a
right.
bit
Leave it at you at that.
So yeah, is there like
Mhm.
there's like a mystery at the heart of it?
So yeah. Clearly we have it as regular audiobook. It is not as long. It's only 8 discs.
8 discs.
So
That's
not as
great.
long as Spare. So
Yeah.
it's I think it ran, I listened to it as an e-audiobook. I think it was about 8 to 10 hours. But it quickly moves. And that was
Yeah.
like if you listen to it at like normal speed, 1.0 speed, it'll still be quick for you. But at like 1.2 it was still fine. But yeah, it goes through his whole story, Ernie's whole story.
That looks really
Yeah.
fun.
We did select it. One of our adult services specialists, Elizabeth, did this as
That's
her book discussion group for our area. I should hold it closer so you can see the cover. But yeah, it was a really good book discussion as well.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Oh yeah, where?
Regular audiobook, Libby, Hoopla, or Boundless. So we got it on all of them.
Everywhere. And I forgot if this is on Hoopla and Libby. Whee! I forget.
I put a link to our catalog.
Yeah,
where
most
you
of mine
can-
are Libby and Hoopla are going to be the big ones. There is,
Yeah.
we do have the CD of Remarkably Bright
Mhm.
Pictures. My next one is a nice big one.
Good chunky read.
Middle game, also the start of a trilogy, I believe it's a trilogy. Yeah, this one is like 17 and a half hours. It's a long one. I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I usually prefer a short book. If it's long, it has to be good. Like it has to be good, or I'm like I will not. I quit books all the time. And this one I couldn't. I could not quit it. It was just immediately sucked me in. So it's narrated by Amber Benson of Buffy the Vampire Slayer fame. I also love a narrator who's an actor. And the story is hard to describe.
Awesome.
Perfect for a stream like this.
Just listen to
I
it.
like truly knowing nothing about it. It had just been like on my TBR forever, and I was like, okay, let's try it. And I started it, and I was in. The main characters are twins. Their names are Roger and Dodger. they do not grow up together.
Mhm.
They were not named together.
That's even more annoying.
Oh.
One of them, Roger, is good with words and like understands languages and the power of story and the power of like persuasion and like saying something and making it true. Dodger is all numbers. Like she understands like logic, probability, things like that. They are not exactly human. Like you come to learn that they are words and numbers. Like that is like who they are. And it's fantasy. Like I don't know if that doesn't. Of course, it's fantasy. But basically they have to like save the world. Like that's what it comes down to.
I mean,
At the end of it, they have to save the world. I don't know. It's just fun. Roger and Dodger are hilarious. They are.
I think just saying the names too.
Yeah,
They have a great sibling relationship. It's very believable, even though they didn't grow up together. They like find each other and are like, wait a minute, we look exactly alike, and we have all these things in common. Our birthdays is wait, we are twins, and also we were both adopted. Wait a minute, we were grown in a lab.
So many plot turns right there.
Normally people like stop at the, hey, wait, we're twins. And then, it usually doesn't go further than that.
I don't know. Otherwise, it's very good. And this hand with the candles.
You want that candle.
I want it, but it is a dangerous tool used in the book.
Oh.
I like the whole time I was like, what? Like, what does the cover have to do with anything?
I love when the cover
and then
back.
When they describe the character and she's holding this wax hand, I'm like, the cover.
It's the thing. It was important all along.
Maybe it kills people.
Oh, golly.
You have to listen to it to find out.
Listen to it.
All right. My last book, Hunter, by Mercedes Lackey, who writes a lot of fantasy. I think normally like an adult and also children, like whatnot. But this is kind of one that's like solidly young adult. So basically, this is our world after an apocalyptic event, which all of these rifts into like the magic world opened up and spewed out all of these creatures that are from our myths and legends and storybooks. So like all of a sudden the Jabberwocky exists. And like it's vicious. It's vicious. But like kappas and goblins, all those sorts of things, red caps, all of that, they're real and they're in our world. And it just lays waste to the human world. This story picks up after all of that mayhem, and humans have sort of built up settlements and cities and fortresses and whatnot. The only safe way to travel is by train. The roads are far too dangerous, and the planes, well, there's things in the sky that don't allow for planes. So the only way that humans have sort of been allowed to, or able to persist in this is, along with the magic realms, magic also settled into humans. And humans are able to become hunters to hunt the magical beasts, and they get assistance from like magical hellhounds. They can like summon them from the gate, like open a gateway, and out comes them. So this follows what's her face? Joy. Let's forget Joy. So she lives in a like mountain community, and there's a bunch of hunters there, but they've only ever reported that there's one of them, and that one person is Joy, because they're just like, there's a government that's way too controlling, and we're going to protect our people. So that government basically tells her, you need to come to the capital, and you're going to work for the hunters in the capital, where the capital like gets the most stuff going on. Joy is particularly cool because her hounds are alebrijes. So like the really colorful, like Mexican culture like dogs, and they're really cool. They're genuinely really cool. They can all shapeshift. They're really cool. So it's got a bit of like I'd fit in the same categories of like Hunger Games and Divergent and like those sorts of things where it's like government not phenomenal in this situation and like it's tricky and there's sort of like political social machinations going on and you've got this girl who like has just that thing about her and she works incredibly hard and goes through a lot of hardships and there's relationships across the board between like who can you trust, what friends she garners, and like do they survive? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's like high stakes at all times. So this is a trilogy. I went through all of the books on audiobook. We personally have the first one in print, but all of them can be found on Hoopla. The narrator was really good, and like I was just engaged throughout the whole entire thing. I thought it was a really cool world, really cool like adventure fantasy thing, really nice world building all across the board, and it was really fun like finding out how these like fantasy creatures were brought to life in this horrific monstrous way. Like minotaurs showed up and all this. It was cool because they all have like their different things to them. And then there's also like fairy, like high fae, who just show up and everyone's just like, oh no, like we're all gonna die. And then she's like, I didn't die. Why am I alive? There are multiple times where she's like, you see her developing PTSD in time, like because girl goes through it. But it's fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And those her hounds are so cool. I can't get over how cool they are. All right, enjoy this. Yeah.
Okay. So for we can look at time. I have 2 more books, but
Go for it.
The next one I want to talk about is called Shoe Dog.
Shoe Dog.
And it's by Phil Knight. I can't remember if it's narrated by him or not, but Phil Knight is the founder of Nike, as you see with the Nike swoosh.
I mean, it's good marketing right here.
Good marketing right here. We know what the book is about, all that good stuff. And it's about how he started Nike. So I didn't know anything about this. I only know Nike as this like multi-billion-dollar organization. But it talks about how in the 60s, he borrowed $50 to start Nike, what is now Nike. $50, he flew to Japan, got a distributor, got like so he can make the stuff a little more cheaper.
Slight pause. I wish we could fly to Japan for $50.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know if that was the cost of the flight. I don't remember that fact. But yeah, so it talks about that, how they created the swoosh, which there's a little bit of controversy with how they created the swoosh, but in the end they made it right because they hired a graphic artist and hired her for the swoosh, and then that's all that she really did. And then she was like, whoa, now it's this big company. But then Nike gave her shares. So like literally like she was maybe paid a couple $100 for this swoosh.
Yeah.
They realized we're now this massive thing. Now she probably has $1 million with her shares. So like they made it right in the end.
Good job.
But yeah, it talks about how all of his ups and downs and risks he took and everything like that. We found on Libby.
That's neat. We were already talking before about like, well, we know who we're giving this book to.
Yeah.
Like, there's a particular patron where we're like,
this is for you.
That is for that one.
So the narrator of that is Norbert Leo Butz.
Oh, okay.
Fun name.
He is a Broadway guy.
Makes sense.
Good.
Known for being the original Fiero.
Oh, tying it into Wicked.
Listen to your voice. I have that soundtrack.
Someone who's never seen it, I don't know who that is.
Oh,
no spoilers.
It's okay.
I've not
No
seen it.
spoilers. No spoilers.
It's like 20 years.
We were talking about that. That is a long drama. I tried to go and see Wicked like a couple of days ago or something, and I was looking at it and I was like, it's still sold out. Like, no.
Well, $25 to stream it at home.
I have options. I know. I'm debating about whether I want to like screen. Because like it's a spectacle. It's supposed to be a spectacle. So I want to be spectacled
in a group.
Yeah.
And yet.
But you don't want to. And I think it's sold out again now because now they're doing sing along.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
So I went to go see it before it became sing along because I was like, I don't want to hear some
Did you get
Joe
sing
Schmo. I did not get sing along, which was good. I think I probably sang, but I wasn't like out there singing.
You're
so it was like I was like to myself, I was like, yeah.
Hi, gravity.
Yeah.
To be fair, I am on. Like,
yeah. So
that is fair.
But that's why I think it's getting sold out again. Because when I went, I was like, we easily got tickets.
And I think like a lot of people were waiting for like the holiday week.
Yeah.
So, which I was too sorry, but I don't want to be. I don't want to humans. That said, should we like make your husband come and like we can all go see Wicked?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll arrange it. Shall arrange our little department meet. Like we'll have a little team meeting at the movie.
I've just noticed that the author of my last book blurbed for Legends and Lattes.
Hey.
And she said, "It is sweet, beautiful, most of all, kind. I hugely recommend this book. So if you like this book, maybe you like the one that she wrote. It is
Good notice. Good
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's sweet or kind. But it's beautiful.
No. All right, you got one more?
I have one more. It's a late entry. I literally started listening to this book this morning.
Oh.
On my way here, and I was like, I'm gonna talk about this because it's a lot of fun.
That one's on my to-do list too.
Yeah, so it is Bravely. Yes, like Merida.
I was just gonna say that. Looks like
yeah. I mean, you can't not be, and if it looks like that, it has to be about that.
So that interests me, but the reason I'm reading it is because of the author Maggie C. Potter. I will read whatever she writes,
and you should.
Including this semi-sequel to the movie Brave,
which
she alludes to.
So it's official fan fiction.
I guess it's. I mean, it's Disney Pixar. Like
it's official fan fiction.
Published by Disney Press. It's canon. Yes, fanfic's canon.
I love it. Let's go.
She alludes to, I had an adventure a while ago. Things happened. My relationship with my mother is a lot better now.
I still am picking out bear hair.
Yeah. But in this one, it starts on Christmas, so like I feel like right now is actually a good time to read it.
Oh, cool.
She is like eating a bunch of bread in the kitchen. She's not supposed to. And then she hears a knock at the door and she's like, oh, I got caught. And she like goes to see who it is, and there's no one there, but then she like looks up further and sees this like maybe man, but she's not sure. And he starts running. She's like, well, I'm gonna chase you.
Of course. That's what you do to maybe men.
That's what you do. She's like, I'm going to catch you. And he's like, no, you're not. And then she realizes she knows the land better than he does, so she traps him. Ooh. And finds out he is not a mere man. He is one of the great gods of Scotland. Faradoc.
Okay.
Who is the supernatural being who like oversees ruin and like destruction. And he is there to ruin and destroy her home, the kingdom. He's like, you all, like, he brings about change, basically. He's like, you all do not change. You're the same. You don't, you need to change. So it is time.
And she's like, did you watch my movie?
Yeah. It's like staying a whole adventure. She does. She's like, well, I just did a whole lot of things. He's like, yeah, and then you came back and now you're doing the same thing that you were before, which is annoying your parents, going out to do archery, and getting dirty. So, like, you didn't really change.
Wow.
Okay.
Those three things are really
called out.
Getting dirty and doing archery. Those are real
deal breakers. It's time to grow up.
Yeah.
There's another the balance of this god is Lake. You know what?
This is why you listen to the audiobook.
This is why you listen to the audiobook.
Yeah.
And I heard it and I was like, I'm gonna forget that. Yeah. I'm literally only like 7% in. And she is renewal. So like he ruins, she renews, basically.
Right.
Yeah. But she's like kind of older than he is, or like maybe more established, and she's like, but I kind of like them. Please don't ruin them. So like she'll like put her finger on the scales to things that she's like, wait a minute, don't do that. And so essentially Merida is able to strike a bargain to say, give me 1 year to make a change without you ruining us. And if we don't change within a year, then go ahead. You can destroy us.
Fun.
So it starts again at like Christmas time in the winter, and so then it'll go through the whole year, and like her process of like changing her family, like yeah.
So the other day we were having a conversation about current Disney sequels like Frozen 2 and Moana 2. It seems that the sequels automatically turn into like deity stuff, like pantheons and deity things. Like it shifts from like your coming of age story to suddenly you're a goddess.
So yeah,
pointing at it.
Yeah,
it's got some strong vibes to follow this pattern. Disney. I made the joke of Disney is turning away from Disney princesses to Disney goddesses. I'm saying it here. I'm bringing Disney deities. I'm calling it out.
You gotta just level it up.
Right there. There's my claim. That's my hot take.
That's your hot take for
the next like decade
is
of Disney sequels
on Hoopla. So even though I have it checked out, you can also check it out.
Which is great because as soon as I finish my current audiobook, which is almost done, shifting straight over to that one.
To this one. Yeah.
Gimme.
The narrator's Fiona Hardingham.
Do we have Scottish accents?
She does. So she herself is, I believe, from the UK and has more of like a what you would think of as like a typical
lilt and stuff. Yeah.
But then when she's going into the dialogue, she will amp up the
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
I'm down.
A lot of fun.
Gimme. Yeah.
For my last book, we have Do I Know You?
Do I Know You?
Which is, and then I like a good subtitle too. This is a memoir, so it usually comes with a good subtitle. But this is a face-blind reporter's journey into the science of sight, memory, and imagination. So it's based on a true story. It's written by Sadie Dingfelder, and she also narrates it. And it's about her life of like, she's just going about her life and she notices herself in a grocery store and she separates herself from her husband. And then when they try to go meet up together, she like goes to this random guy because she thinks it's her husband. But that was like her first realization of like, oh, maybe I am face blind and I don't actually know what anyone in my life looks like.
Yeah.
She also has some other things that she discovers as she's going through all of these neurological testings. Like she realizes that she has stereo blindness as well as aphasia, which aphasia is the inability to create a mental image. So when I say apple, you probably picture a red apple or just some type of apple. She doesn't do that.
Right.
She's
like, yes.
Yeah, she's like apple. She sees the word apple or something. So it's just really interesting. This was recommended to me by a community partner that we work with here, so I read it. And yeah, it's really good. It's very similar on the lines of, if you remember the book, like Brain on Fire. Like that is another story. And it just kind of delves into a little bit more of neurodiversity. So that's just something that we like to read sometimes. So yeah.
Totally do. And I would say like it's probably, these conditions are probably more prevalent than you would expect.
And you realize, it took her into like her it was later in life for her that she realized this. Like she went through her whole like childhood and adolescence without realizing it.
And like, I don't know, I forgot who they were.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or I think a lot of people would be like, well, how can you not know? It's like, that's how you perceive the world. You know, like you wouldn't know it's any different until like somebody shares their experience and you're like, huh? What?
Yeah, either you're like, wait, that's me, or you're like, wait, that's no.
Yeah.
This one is on Libby as well.
Phenomenal. So, yeah, that one looks really good. So,
and it's a quick read. I think I maybe read it and listened to it because I'm one of those.
Yeah, you like to read
in like probably a day or two, so it didn't take me too long.
Not bad. Yeah. Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah. All right. Well, we have a good chunk of audiobooks that are available. Some might not be immediately available, but you can put them on hold on Libby.
Hoopla, they will be available. I think Boundless too, right?
I think you can put it on hold list on Boundless, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say just based on how I see patron usage going, it's usually like Libby, then Hoopla, then Boundless. So like if you see it on Boundless, maybe just go try straight there to see if you can get it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thought. Yeah. I generally do Hoopla, then Libby. That's my hierarchy. I've not jumped into Boundless, so
yeah,
I'll have to get there. Normally, because like what I need is there. Like so. But yeah, as if you go into the chat, we've got the link to our catalog. So if you ever like look up a book, it'll tell you what variations of that book are available. And if you look at like the audiobook section or the ebook section, it'll tell you like if it's on Hoopla or Boundless or wherever. So you can see where those are. I would say double check on the app though. Sometimes the catalog does not carry over all the time. And we are working with those various our catalog to make sure that it's a bit more accurate. It's just one of those things where, you know, sometimes there's glitches. It's because it's different companies merging together on stuff. So there's always going to be some level of lost in translation. So we're trying, we're working on it. There's only so much we can do. But double check anyway. So if it means that you got to go through like all your apps and see if something's available, so be it. It's okay. You'll be fine. But yeah, so I think that's the jam for this one. Yes. Everybody happy? Everybody happy. So yeah, let us know if you get like, if you know of like any other great audiobooks or suggestions. We'll pop this over to YouTube and you can leave commentary there as well. All right, I think that's all for this jam. Everybody happy? Cool. All right. That's the end of this stream. See you for the rest of this year. Bye.